Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. I'm very proud to be standing here today. We've travelled a long way, Ben and I, and 5 years ago when we started working together, if you'd have told me that we'd be doing this, I would have said, oh, I don't think so, but here we are. What an incredible journey we've had over the last 5 years. And I'd like to start by thanking Ben for that, because it's been absolutely amazing. On the pitch, Ben Cohen is a force to be reckoned with. Off the field, he's a dad, he's a husband, he's my friend, and he's now dedicated his life to standing up against homophobia and bullying and standing up for love and equality. Please welcome Ben Cohen, MBE. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. I've been asked to come down and speak to you about my journey through my rugby career. It was started by accident. I was at my middle school at the time. I was 12 years old, and I got asked to make up the numbers, and which I did. I played prop. I don't know if anybody know what that position is. It's in the scrum. It's a place that you just do not want to go and build a career in that front row. It's a dark, dark place. So it quickly revolved that actually I ended up going on to the wing because I actually wasn't big enough to be a prop, but I was quick enough and wasn't very talented at that point, so they put me out on the wing. So I went from position 1 to 14 pretty quick. And my career evolved pretty quickly, but I got told by a coach at that particular time, and I wasn't going to say this, but actually it's quite relevant, because when somebody does give you a chance or an opportunity to prove yourself, you know, you actually really want to prove them wrong, don't you? And he quite clearly in front of everyone had told me, said that you would never play rugby as long as you've got a hole in your ass. And I constantly remind him that his son never won a World Cup, which I pretty much enjoy all the time. But I thought it's important to say that because my career really accelerated from then. I found that actually I wasn't the most talented player, but I had a really high work rate. And I got an opportunity to go with someone who's got a Saints shirt on here who'd like to stand up. That's a team I played for 14 years. It's good. It was somewhere that I joined as a lad as 15 years old. I'd only been playing rugby for 3 years. And I went on to play over 300 games for them and managed to win the biggest domestic trophy there was, which is called the Heineken Cup. And they lost out this weekend. It's a Leinster. I bet it was a good party after that. Yeah, so it was something that, a club I fell in love with, and I still do love. I'm very emotionally attached to that club, and I found that actually that when I play with emotion, I'm getting involved with emotion with the club and the club I love, and I embrace my teammates. I found they brought the best out in me, and our team we had at that particular time was full of internationals, full of players wanting to be successful and wanted to play for their country. So it pulled all the younger lads up through the ranks very quickly because we were pushing for positions. There was competition amongst the squad, and I managed to get an opportunity. I took it with both hands, and I managed to cement myself in the first team at the age of 17. And it's something that is very prominent today because I was judged on my ability and not my age. Everyone was saying that he's too young, he's 17, he can't play, he's too young. But actually the coach at the time, Ian McGeechan, he said, look, these abilities, if you're good enough, you're old enough. And it's something that's very prominent now, is that if you're good enough to play, it shouldn't really matter what your sexual orientation is. And we're finding that has been shown today, that people are not getting judged on the skill and what they're very good at. So I ended up getting my opportunity to play for England at 21, and as you see, that it was a great start. I scored a couple of tries on my debut, which is what I remember for the rest of my life, obviously, but not probably as much as when I played against Wales at Twickenham. That's where we play our home games for England, and it was against Wales, and I had a good game, and it was a hot day. It was a nice spring day, and we were in a change room afterwards. I scored a great try, and pretty happy with myself. And obviously, like anything else, rugby is like 20 controlled car crashes every game. So I was pretty tired when I came off the pitch, and I was sitting in my cubicle, and I was talking to another player called Will Greenwood at the time, and Clive Woodward, the coach, was showing around this young lad around the change room, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's a prize winner, you know, maybe he's come around to meet the team, and it happens. And so as he's showing this lad around this changing rooms, I started to get unchanged, like you would after a game. So as I pulled down my shorts and pulled down my pants, I adjust myself. And as I've stood up, and it's Prince Harry, only about 13. But without thinking, I put my hand out to shake his hand. So I've gone, oh, pleased to meet you. And he shook my hand, but we became good friends afterwards, and Will and Harry, that they came to a lot of the England games, and obviously towards going to the World Cup, they were there all the time. And but my career was good from then on, and up until last Sunday, well, I announced my retirement. But it was announcing my retirement because something I probably could have carried on for a couple of years, but. It was becoming a job. It was becoming something that I'd get up and just go through in emotions, and something that had been boiling in the background was a social media platform. You know, Facebook, which we all know, and had been 5 years prior to that. Jill and I became very aware of this man called Laurent from Paris who set up a fan page for me, and I was like, okay, that's fair enough, Jill, that's brilliant. But she goes, there's 30,000 people on it. And I said, well, that's brilliant, but why? She goes, I don't really know. But I said, and she goes, but, you know, Ben, they're all men. And I went, oh, okay. But what came with it, actually, after every 3 or 4 days, it would get 5 to 1,000 people all the time. And it came with a sense, a bit of responsibility, actually. There's a lot of people that, Jill runs my website, and we get obviously probably around about 40, 45,000 people a month. And we get a lot of emails, and we get a lot of emails about people who get bullied for being gay or perceived to be different. And I soon found out that actually I'm in a privileged position to make a difference to these people, and you know, they find me attractive. I don't know what reason. I personally don't find myself that attractive, but they do. But what I wanted to show is actually, yes, okay, fine. If you find me attractive, fair enough. But there's depth to me. You know, that we'll do something about it, and I'll try and make a difference to people's lives. And that's why we're here today, is that I retired a week last Sunday to become chairman of the Ben Cohen Stand-Up Foundation. And it's been really, really well received across America and across the world. We have not, hand on heart, had a negative comment from anyone. And that's something that it proves that we're doing the right thing. We're combating bullying across the board. And we're using rugby to do that. You know, rugby is a very inclusive sport. Rugby is what I know. Rugby is, as I said, is inclusive to all shapes and sizes, colour, race, sexual orientation. You can play it in schools. You play tag rugby, and we're finding that that the rugby clubs we use for the tours here are gay-friendly rugby clubs that are actually embracing that, of realising that they can't shut theirself away from the world and just want to be accepted into the world. They need to be receptive too, and you know that they need to open their door and say, look, you know, if you're a straight person, you want to play rugby, the great game, then come and play with our team, and they have done. You know, especially Sattel Craig's here with Jeff, wherever he's gone. Somewhere around there you are, is that they did exactly that. You know, now the quality of rugby's gone through the roof. You know, they have straight players, gay players playing on the same pitch, on the same team. They play in straight teams, and it's been very noticeable that actually it works. You know, that rugby has a great brotherhood, it has a great social side to it, and that people who are struggling to come to terms with themselves, or who are being bullied, or I say for whatever reason, that they can use these rugby clubs here, sending an olive branch out to them, to say, look, come to the rugby clubs, enjoy the brotherhood, enjoy the social side of it, feel accepted, be amongst people who have lived your life and lived through that and come out the other side. Because we know that we touched on it earlier about social media, that people can't escape bullying these days from schools, from work, or for whatever, from family, because it can follow them. It can follow them through mobile phones, pictures, videos on your phones, obviously Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, or anything. People generally just can't escape from it. And we're finding out that people don't have that infrastructure that they can turn to their families, because they won't understand. They might be outed, and the same with their friends and maybe close friends, that they might not accept them for who they really are. Then that's the point where they feel isolated and run away, and it can lead to all sorts after that. So we set up the foundation to try and make aware of homophobia in sport, and also this big movable middle, where people on the far right are really set in their ways, and the people on the far left are quite easygoing. And it's people that in the middle that just go with the flow, and actually just by maybe to fit in with crowds or to stay out of trouble would just rather just go and just associate themselves with this far right or close to that far right to stay out of anything. But then actually they're quite over on the left, and we see that in business, and we see that in general life and everyday life. So we wanted to affect this big movable middle, to actually say, if you see bullying, hear bullying, stand up for them, because the people who watch be filming it or standing around watching it or goading the person on to fight or whatever, actually as good as much as taking part. And as a family man, I know that I bring my children up to obviously stand up against bullying, but also that they know they can always turn inwards and, you know, let them live life and let them blossom into beautiful young girls they're going to be. But some people don't really have that option. So the other string to my bow is actually being a sportsman and knowing that how homophobia in sport, or people getting bullied in sport, and how they should be coached. The team environment, we know that having fun and banter within a group is very good for team bonding and makes you come closer together as a team to perform, but making fun of and outing someone is not. So that's why the Ben Cohen Stand Up Foundation has been set up to combat that. We're also setting up a social commerce a brand that will run side by side the foundation, so it'll outgrow me. We've been approached obviously by Microsoft, but other people that help support us. We've got a TV program that is in the throes of being sorted out now that's going to combat bullying. So something that brand's going to really fund and support the foundation, so it outlives me, and we can bring in other people around, as in sportsmen, TV celebrities, musicians that have come forward, and obviously personal friends of mine too. So they're going to come in and make a stand against bullying and homophobia in sport. So thank you very much everyone for listening, and I hope you stayed awake.